context, but also, what has no one asked you in these 19 interviews a day that you're like, oh my gosh, will someone please ask me that question? So that's kind of where I'm going. Then I want to save time, of course, for where we find more information about your book. Of course, people know where to find you, and I'll put all the links in the show notes. But that's kind of the path. That's the path
Sure.
that we
Well,
have
listen,
left.
I mean, you nailed it, honestly. Like nobody has asked me what my second favorite quote is. That is a fact. So I'm going to share it. And this quote isn't necessarily a standalone quote in the book. I weave it throughout. It's a personal quote that I really believe in. And I think that just for some reason, I'm just getting the vibe that your audience needs to hear this because of the work that they do and the path that they're on, is I want to give them permission to do this. Do things that don't scale. You need to do things that don't scale because this world, it'll throw at you just like, hey, don't trade time for dollars. Like, hey, everything you do needs to be at scale. How do you leverage this? How do you outsource that? The way that I've built a business that's generated over $20 million in the past 9 years, that consistently, and by consistently, I mean 90 months in a row, we've netted over $100,000 in profit, sometimes much more, never less, 90 months in a row, which we obviously detail in our income reports. I can trace it all back to doing things that don't scale. Like a quick example of that, for years, and I still do it to this day, I will get on calls. I did it a lot more at the beginning, but I'll still do it from time to time now. I will get on calls with my audience, and I would do it as much as possible year 1, year 2, year 3. And I would ask them 4 questions on a one-on-one call, not being recorded, nothing, just a one-on-one call, not scalable, not leverageable. And I would ask them 4 questions. How'd you find out about me and my show? And I would learn such valuable pieces of information about the path that people were taking to get to my doorstep. So then I could do more of those things. Like people never think about that, but it was so valuable. Number 2, what do you like about my show? Actually getting from people's mouths what they like about it. And the key there, which a lot of people underestimate, is the words they use to describe what they like about your show, your product, your service, whatever that is. Because those words that they use, their vocabulary, that becomes your vocabulary. That becomes your sales pages. That becomes your courses, your products, your email subject lines. It becomes everything because now you're speaking your audience's language. And that's so powerful. Number 3, what don't you like about my content? Like, be honest with me. Like, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to hate you. Like, tell me what you don't like. And when they respond to you with that, don't take the first response you get and change, because that could just be an anomaly. That could be one person. But if you hear a theme over time, then you make some changes in your content, your business for the better, because these are your best fans, your best audience, your best listeners, your best customers and clients. And then the 4th and most important question, what's your biggest struggle right now? What is your biggest struggle right now? And then listen to their biggest struggle, their pain points, their obstacles, their challenges. Like people are like, John, you've come up with so many great ideas over the years, like Podcaster's Paradise, Webinar on Fire, the Freedom Journal, Mastery Journal, Podcast Journal, this book, all these different things. I'm like, I came up with 0.0 of those ideas. My audience came up with every one of those ideas because I asked them that question. That's how I won.
I love it. Well, I'll put those 4 questions in the show notes. And of course, they're in their book and you go into much greater detail about it, but it's so powerful. And I love that you picked that